Yeah. What up? What up? All praise. I've been sitting still searching for God. It's gone great. Easy Street is peace. The hands of relief like Allstate. How can I lose? It's proven, of course, I'm on pace. We all want energy cross states. Even odds, Venus, Mars, I connected it all on raw faith. And keep the crowd jumping like ball fakes. Haters hate with the with the long face. We taking up our space. Jesus equal, and these are lost tapes. All praise. What up? And you can get weirder. You can get weirder. That's what this episode's about. You can get weirder. We took a couple of days off. I've been on for I think 43 straight episodes, yo. So shout to me. Applause sound effect for that. Yeah. Um 43 straight episodes, and then this weekend we had a great chill weekend. We had some friends in town and just relaxed and woke up really late and went to bed late and chilled and did some pool party stuff and just enjoyed good energy with brilliant people. And it was needed, and I'm grateful for it. But we back, short break, short break. And this morning it occurred to me that I wanted to talk about getting weird. Wanted to talk about getting weird and how it's necessary to be weird and get weird. Get weird and become normal with being weird. Become familiar with being weird. Why? Why? Well, what the fuck is weird? What does it even mean? I love how so many of the episodes that we do all kind of string together and make sense and connect. I think in just the last episode, we were talking about the fact that it's all one thing, that all things are one thing. Now, from our deepest scientific understandings, it's true that it's all one thing and that our symbols are off. I said, whatever your symbols are, whatever words you're using to describe reality and how you perceive and tell stories about reality, that those are just a bit off because they're words, and the words are simply symbols that aim to represent something a great deal more complex in the real world. And so right here, we're gonna get to what, like, weird. What the fuck is weird? When I was a kid, weird meant off or bizarre, odd. It was generally something you wanted to avoid. When someone called you weird, it was generally like an insult. It was generally not a good thing. You didn't want to be called weird. So bizarre, odd. And as I've grown older, I've learned that I've seen that weird is really just a deviation from a norm. It's just a deviation from a norm. And when you look at things, instead of, like, again, when words, which is why symbols are off, you call something normal, you call it normal, but what the fuck is normal? What is normal? Huh? Do you know? It's just an agreement, right? It's just a social agreement. It's just an accepted set of conditions and assumptions, an accepted set of definitions, right? And so 20 years ago, a man with earrings, it's not normal to have earrings. I remember when I first got my earrings when I was like 19, and my uncles were like, oh. There's a bunch of stuff we can say. There's a norm that's just an accepted set of stuff, and then there's a deviation from that. And for a second, it might be called weird until it's no longer called weird. Until it's no longer weird, because it is what it is. The definition has to be adjusted somewhat. You ever look at somebody, like I said, if I was bothered by my uncle's comments or assumptions 20 years ago, maybe I don't have the thing right now. You see how fashion evolves. You see how the masculine fashion in this moment includes stuff that I'd be like, this looks like a purse. This feels like a purse. But it's a bag, and it has masculine men carry it, and it is what it is. Because things evolve and norms are not real. And they're just accepted agreements. And thank God that people all throughout history didn't just accept the agreements that were made public. I don't care how popular they were. Even the popular agreements have to be challenged. The last thing you want to be, I think, in an ever-evolving, complex infrastructure called reality, in this like infinite thing called reality, to be this like rigid rule follower. You ever see, I used to work in a gym. You got these guys, these gym guys come in, shoulders big like this, deep voice. They got the strong posture. They walk in. What up, yo? They might be cool people in every sense, but there's a masculineness about them. What are they into? Into sports, You know what I'm saying? Football, I'm into this, and I smoke cigars, and I'm very masculine. I'm into bitches, I'm into women, and all that's great, and all that's great. But at some point, like I said, this whole thing, like you develop, you're more than that. You don't want to be just like this rule follower. Some of these guys, this very masculine sort of approach and presentation, you realize that you're actually a rule follower. You're actually a deep rule follower, and the rules are so deeply ingrained, you don't have to look for them and search for them anymore. You've assumed them so deeply into your personhood that this is an active presentation of, like, the commitment you have to the role. Give me the rules, man. I think it's kind of like, I don't know, there's something about neurology, there's something about perception, there's something about identity, there's something about language, there's something about all the themes and the things we've been talking about. Authenticity, our conception of who we are and what we could be. So even if this person is very rigid, sort of rule following person, looks at this video, is like, okay, what are the, all right, I could be weird, and then give me the rules on how to be weird. If you're a rule follower, you'd be looking for that. You'd be looking for, if you're lacking imagination, if you're not in tune with your own intuitive sense of how, all these rules exist and you can accept them, but then know that you're the operant power and that you have the freedom to be weird, yo. You don't need rules. You can press against things, and that is a sign of your creativity. When you press against convention and assumptions, how do you do it? How have you chosen to do it? And increasingly become free through getting weird. I saw a meme that talked about the word weird and the linguistics of the word weird. Did you know that weird was actually originally defined as having the power to control fate? Having the power to control fate. And so when Shakespeare wrote I think the Weird Sisters in one of his plays, he wrote about these witches and these weird women, and they dressed weirdly. And over time, the language took that on, particularly with clothing, and it became weird, sort of absent that powerful thing. Because to me, again, bizarre, odd, it's at least neutral. And sometimes it's an insult to be weird, right? But this is an empowering definition. Fate is having the power to, weird is having the power to control fate. That's a very different thing. Again, if I'm connected to the symbol of weird and my assumptions about those words and what the world is, and I say, okay, well, I don't want to be weird, right? There's no benefit to being weird in that other definition called bizarre or odd, and you will be outcast, and so people will judge. But here it's saying weird is the power to control fate. That's empowering, actually. That's different. Maybe there is something to being weird, and there is something to being weird. There is something to being weird, something powerful, because it's actually all one thing. And our symbols are off, like I said in the last episode. Our symbols are not reality. So as I was thinking about that meme, and by the way, I had to Google the meme. The meme said something. I went and Googled it, and I looked it up, and I saw the history of it and read it up. Do not take these memes. Take the memes with the same grain of salt you would take cable news, okay? Well, as I was thinking about the meme, and I was thinking about the concept of weird as an empowering thing, the ability to control fate. How interesting. Why would that show up that way? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would they define it that way? What was going on that they saw in reality that would cause people to the origins of the word was the ability to control fate. That's weird. This person has the ability to control fate. But I started to think about it. Look, again, it's all one thing. And if you think about the yin and the yang is a symbol of wholeness. It's a symbol of totality. It's split sort of half and half. And there's a little bit of each in either half. And actually, that little simple image is a simplified thing that tells us quite a lot about the nature of reality. But let's say one of them was winning. Let's say one was winning it over, and yin was 100%. We had a condition of 100% conformity on something, whether something simple like clothes or whatever, just 100% agreement. Well, all those people, let's say it's 1,000 people, they're all agreeing and doing the same thing and acting the same way. They've agreed to the same words and the same definitions and the same terms and values. But when someone deviates, that one person, 1,000 people against 999, that one person, they're not outside of what is, they're still in what is. It's all one thing. There's actually incredible power in that one person. Whether everybody looks at them and is inspired by this new thing, which is a potential, or that they find it and they hate it and they demand that, there's like, oh, there's something wrong with this and you need to retract. There's a tension now. Everybody's this gelatinous other thing, this agreed upon beige, like, what I'm saying, monotonous thing. And this person diverts even in the most subtle way. That's incredibly powerful. Everybody now, you're not outside of it. You have now either sparked inspiration or you sparked some sort of rebellion, some sort of like a response. You've sparked awareness, you sparked potential. That's how you control fate. This motherfucker just controlled fate. Think about it simply. Think about Will Smith and on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. At school, everybody got that same jacket that they were wearing. Will Smith was cool enough and free enough to flip it inside out. He's the one dude flipping it inside out where the inner lining of it was like this red, colorful thing. And that's just what he did. That's how he did it. And it showed very, very powerfully this like a freedom, a willingness to get weird. And of course, Will was cool and charismatic and had a lot of social clout. And so you might say he could get away with it, but it doesn't matter. Like there are other representations of this, even from a less like socially, less socially powerful person, just deviating from the norm. You know what I'm saying? When you deviate from the norm, it indicates a knowledge about what norms are. It indicates a knowledge about your position against the norms. It indicates a knowledge about your power. It's a claiming of the awareness. It's a claiming of the truth. You are the operant power. And you shift everything. You shift everything. What if you had awareness of this? What if you took this up? What if you noticed, and particularly again, it's like how to get weird. There's no step-by-step stuff. There's no rules. There's no like particular thing, but do notice, like if there's something in your life that is, that doesn't feel entirely natural or doesn't feel entirely safe or doesn't feel entirely genuine, just to know that you actually have a ton of room, yo. You're actually infinite. Yeah, it looks like it. You have a ton of room. And particularly in a time of just horrific abuse and scandal and political abuse and the guardrails of our civil society being challenged. One of the last things people want to do, one of the last things people should do is like be stuck conforming to rules that aren't there while the power structure isn't conforming to their own rules. The power structure wants to dismiss international law, wants to dismiss habeas corpus. They want to undermine even the First Amendment, undermine people's freedom of speech. They want to set up flock cameras everywhere and undermine like our sense of autonomy. The president is grifting billions of dollars off of his station for him and his family and his friends. It's the wars and all that shit. And you're following rules? You're trying to be normal? You're trying to be normal? You're performing normal? Nah, bruh. That doesn't make any sense. For who? For what? Because it's familiar? Because it's comfortable? Because it was safe at one point? Is that what it is? But it's not safe, bruh. That's a confusion. Your safety is in your unique, genuine awareness and your unique, intuitive, what you bring to the table uniquely. There is a gem and there's a powerful reality. There's a powerful universe inside of you that you've been taught. And I was taught, we've all been taught to subdue and to undermine and to be normal and to avoid. And that's holding us back. That's holding yourself back for sure, for sure. We talked about this in depth, about the stories and the assumptions that we've taken, that have taken hold in our mind, that have set our boundaries for our world. But there's gaps in our perception, and we come from a perspective, and there's gaps. There's a whole, not just a gap, but like we exist in a small slither of what is. What is much greater than our awareness, and you can get weirder, yo. All right, listen, that's the message, man. Follow the YouTube channel. Check out the rest of these videos. We talk about philosophy and genuineness and journalism and truth on this channel. And yeah, let's all get weirder. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.